I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Could I have the roll call?
Councilmember Bach?
Here.
Councilmember Smith?
Here.
Councilmember Williams?
Present.
Councilmember Stroman?
Here.
Councilmember Servany?
Here.
Mayor Thornton?
Here. Next is the consent agenda. If there's no request for any items to be removed from the consent agenda, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the mayor's report. I have a few things this evening that I'd like to share with the council. First of all, the city offices will be closed November 22nd and 23rd in observance of Thanksgiving. I wish the city council and city staff a very happy and safe Thanksgiving. I know a lot of people travel over the Thanksgiving holiday, so I hope everybody has safe travels if that's what their plans are. So, again, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I was going to talk a little bit about the Christmas festival, but we have our chairperson for the Christmas Festival Committee here this evening, Melinda Masna. I'm sure she'll be sharing some information with us during the public comment. Thank you for being here, Melinda. So, 30 years ago, George Teeney and his partner Sam Magno opened the Last Frontier Card Room in hopes of creating something fun and profitable. The little 5-table poker room grew into something much bigger alongside the new Phoenix. It became a fixture of downtown La Center. In 1991, Joe England joined the team at the Last Frontier and is now serving as its CEO. I'd like to congratulate George Teeney, Joe England, and their dedicated team of employees and staff in achieving 30 years of continuous gaming operations at the Last Frontier Casino. We all wish them the best of luck and good fortune going forward. I would also like to add a special thank you to George Teeney for all the contributions and donations he has made to the City of La Center community over the past 30 years. 30 years of continuous operations is quite an accomplishment, and we truly appreciate all that they've contributed to our community. And we have a couple of representatives here this evening from the Last Frontier. Thank you for being here. So now I have another special honor this evening. I get to recognize one of our former city council members. Councilmember Joe Valenzuela is here this evening with his wife, Rosalie. Joe had a lifetime of service to the public. He's started off as serving in the United States military, joined the firefighting service at a young age, advanced through the ranks, and eventually became chief of both communities in Oregon as well as Washington. In 2014, one of our city council members resigned. Joe heard the fire bell ring again and threw his hat in the ring and decided to become a city council member. He served with us here on the council from 2014 to 2018. So tonight I have the honor of recognizing Council Member Joe Valenzuela, and I have a small token of our appreciation. I'd just like to read it. Presented to Council Member Joseph Valenzuela, in recognition and appreciation of your service and dedication to the citizens of La Center, City of La Center, City Council, terms of service 2014 through 2018. So thank you, Joe. And it's one thing, I've been able to serve with several city council members, but I can honestly say Joe is a true friend. So thank you, Joe. Thank you very much, Joe. There you go. Appreciate all your service.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe.
So that's all that I have for this evening. The next, we'll have the attorney's report.
I have a couple of updates related to our ongoing land use appeal. This past week, last week, all the parties filed their reply briefs. I think I sent copies to all of you. The schedule for hearing hasn't been set yet. I'm thinking early in 2019, this will be heard at the Court of Appeals, Division 2 up in Tacoma. But towards the end of October, the Growth Board finally issued its second compliance order, which mirrored its first compliance order. It said, gosh, the county hasn't, corrected all the errors in its comprehensive planning that we identified in our original order. As you know, that's what's under appeal. So they issued another order of noncompliance. We appealed the first one just to kind of because it capsulizes and explains the issues that basically parallel what's in the underlying order. So all the parties appealed that, consolidated that with the Court of Appeals proceeding. And so we kind of have to do it again. Get this order, appeal this, seek expedited review from Superior Court up to the Court of Appeals, get it consolidated with that. And so in order to make sure we don't waive any right to object to these legal conclusions, my fear, though, and what I haven't resolved with the other lawyers on it, is if we do this, it'll delay the Court of Appeals proceedings so that this can be briefed. And so I'm kind of, we're unclear as to whether we're going to move to consolidate or seek to hold it in abeyance while the underlying appeal proceeds. So I just don't want to get this delayed any longer. I mean, how long has it been? I mean, Joe Valenzuela was in short pants when this was first filed, and now he's even retired. So I don't want it to be any longer than this. So we're I'm hoping for January, February hearing date, decision maybe within 2019 on it. So, I mean, what everyone, even the Growth Board, seems to reiterate in its orders are that its focus is Future Wise versus Clark County. So Clark County is the party of interest. The Growth Board only has the authority to decide whether Clark County has complied with state law or not. It doesn't have the authority to order the cities to do anything. We're not respondents to this. So the city annexed the land in question, over a year ago, 2 years ago, and that's it. So it's not like any judge is in a position to order the city to do anything. What we'd like is that the Court of Appeals, reconcile this Growth Board decision with all the prior appellate decisions that say that when the land has been annexed, the case before the Growth Board is moot, because the Growth Board cannot affect any remedy with regard to those lands, period. So that's what we're looking for. It's my sense is that the Growth Board has really kind of been captured by Future Wise's argument that, hey, this is sort of a sleazy maneuver. Well, we're not only following state law in the annexation, we're obligated to do so. So that's what we did. No one participated, no one appealed. That land is within the city limits and it's moving forward. So any questions? We'll be filing this petition for review of challenging the second order. I think Friday is the due date. And like I say, I think Clark County is going to, the developer at the junction, the Centers Junction, also has already filed an appeal of it. So it's going up, and we haven't decided whether to consolidate or not. Any questions? Okay. That's all I have. That's all.
Thank you. Next are council comments. Councilmember Wolf.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. As Mayor Thornton mentioned, Thanksgiving is next week, and I just want to offer a comment. To me, Thanksgiving is more than just a 4-day weekend with a crazy shopping day thrown in. It's a time to reflect on all the fortunes that we have in life. It's a time to count our blessings, and especially when we think of those that maybe are less fortunate than we are. So with that said, I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Thanks, that's all.
Very good, thank you. Councilmember Stoll?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Williams?
Nothing tonight, thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Stoll?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Councilmember Serviny?
I'm always last. I too would like to wish everyone a wonderful, blessed Thanksgiving. We in this community have many, many things to be thankful for, I feel. And I concur with Councilmember Boff that it's a time of reflection, time of thankfulness, and a time of gratitude. So enjoy your family, enjoy your neighbors, and thank you for everything you do for this community.
Thank you. Next on the agenda are staff reports. We have a report this evening from Chief Denning.
No fighting with family on Thanksgiving. Mayor, council, citizens, Chief Denning, the Center Police Department. Some old news and sad news. We are deeply saddened to share that our friend and colleague Ken Shefflin, a retired La Center Reserve police officer, passed away September 29, 2018. During this time, our thoughts and prayers are with his family and friends. Ken served with the La Center Police Department from February 2014 to October 2015 and continued to be part of our department family even after retirement. Ken served in the United States Air Force from 1967 until he was honorably discharged in 1971. Ken worked in the property crimes, Ken worked in the IT industry, but his passion was law enforcement. Ken served 25 years in several roles, from patrol deputy to property crimes detective to bicycle patrol deputy, and finally mounted patrol deputy for Snohomish County. And Ken loved being on the mounted patrol. That was his passion. Ken leaves behind his beloved bride of 41 years, Linda, and his incredible son, Henry. Many La Center officers and staff attended Ken's service. Ken was greatly admired and highly regarded by all who knew him in law enforcement, and he had quite a crowd at his service, so it was pretty moving. And he'll be deeply missed. Brought a lot to the community for us as well here. So, on another note, we have partnered with LexisNexis. It's a community crime map, and LexisNexis Community Crime Map compiles crime data and other information from law enforcement agencies to make it easier for the public to stay informed about crime. The link, which is on the city website and the La Center Police Department Facebook page, provides La Center crime data information. And you can go on the link, and you can actually do some searches for the community, our community, as well as other communities that participate in Clark County or throughout the state of Washington. It brings up little, points on the map and some information, so you can be informed of what's going on. You can put the date ranges that you're looking for, crimes that you're looking for, offenders, and things like that on there too. So you can do some deep searching in there and come up with information that you're looking for. So there's some analytical stuff that you can do. If you needed full-blown information, obviously that's not available to the public, but it does provide information like Cowlitz, what's going on at the Cowlitz up there at the interchange, as well as other areas in the county. So just for information. If you need any assistance in trying to work your way through the crime map, let us know. We'll try to help you out the best that we can. So that's all I have, Mayor. If there's some other questions.
Chief Denny, I like the map. It's really great.
Uh-huh.
And the question I have for you, how frequently is it updated?
How frequently?
Yes.
I'll tell you, it's supposed to be. Information is taken 24 hours from the data that's in CAD system.
Oh, really? That's
and from our reports
great.
and
Okay.
updated into the map. You might have to refresh, because if you go in there and you already have information, it probably is going to have stale information. So going in and doing a refresh and doing a search of,
Okay.
the date range that you're looking for brings up the most current information that's there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chief.
You're
Good
welcome.
report.
Thank you.
Next, we have a staff report from our Public Works Manager, Matt Jenkins. The report was included in the council packet. If you have any questions on the report, I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Council members, mayor, citizens. Is there any questions regarding this month's staff report?
I've been approached a few times with inquiries about when the roundabout is going to be open and if we're planning a grand ceremony.
Well, I've got a little information on that,
Okay.
actually. So I was going to inject, if I may.
Absolutely.
So the roundabout right now is nearly 90% complete, and we expect there still needs to be some striping that needs to be done, and hopefully that'll get done on Friday. But it's contingent upon the weather, yeah. So if the weather permitting, we'll get it striped on Friday, and the roundabout then will be ready to open. Once it's open, there is still some work that's going to be needed to be completed along the slip lane. So the actual roundabout will be open, but they'll have to close off sections of that slip lane while they can finish some concrete work and just some miscellaneous work along the wall. So hopefully that won't take much more than another week, and then it'll be completed. And we just started having conversations today about, how to bring that into service. So, yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes.
Hey, man, I just wanted to say thank you. I was approached by somebody at a baseball game requesting some doggy waste bags over by the baseball fields on the southeast end. Submitted it through the website. Not only did you guys get them added there, but somebody followed up and let me know they were there and when.
Oh,
Thought that was great. Can't remember who asked me, so I can't pass it on, but thanks.
yeah, glad to hear that. Thank you. Ask PW is a great asset to the city, so glad to see that people are using it.
And I got to use it.
Great.
Thank you,
Okay,
Matt.
well, thanks, Matt. No,
Absolutely.
any other questions?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So next on the agenda is citizens' public comment. If anybody would like to address the council, please step up to the podium, and if you give us your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. And for anything that's not on the agenda this evening.
So nobody moving. Morgan Wentworth, 192 Maple Lane in Woodland. Many of you know I'm the facilities manager down at the Last Frontier. And here tonight, I'm going to deliver a little message from the ownership. It's a message I'm happy to get behind because it's a message of thanks. The ownership of the Last Frontier would like to thank the city of the center for the opportunity to operate our business in this city for the last 30 years. It's an opportunity that has given us the chance to offer family wage jobs and benefits for many employees over the years. We are thankful to be part of a long-standing collaboration with the city, which has allowed our business opportunity to vitalize a civic opportunity that's helped La Center develop into a thriving community that other municipalities have strived for without ever reaching the same success. And as I really want this for Woodland, where I live, to kind of get on the same track and do the things that this city's done, I really have to commend everybody, just personally. Our roads, parks, utilities, and other infrastructure, along with our city departments, have all grown in scope and quality during our time together. In recent years, our business has faced many challenges. During this time of crisis, the city has come to the rescue of this industry by adjusting the established tax, and has understood that an adjustment had to be made for our survival in order to take care of our employees and to help preserve an important component of city revenues. We continue to look for support in the months and years to come. We, in turn, have had to make hard choices and be innovative with our business practices. But we are in this together. Together, we strive to demonstrate to other jurisdictions in this state the benefits of having a collaborative effort between a municipality and privately run business for the benefit of both parties. So we'd like to thank you for 30 wonderful years. And I'm getting my 3 minutes is about up, so I'd like to get out of here. And my friend wants to come on top, but I want to say one thing. Mr. Jenkins, good to meet you, and already doing great things, letting us know when they're about to, spin those tanks up down there and send that smell up into the air, so I don't have to respond to calls to find out what that god-awful smell is. I already know what it is, and I let everybody know ahead of time. So, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. Mayor, thank you for your kind opening words. My name's Michael Holt. My address 806 Northwest 94th Street, Vancouver, Washington. City Council, everybody here tonight, I just want to echo what Morgan was saying. George and Joe are up at the Gambling Commission meetings tonight, and they asked me if I would be willing to come and speak and give thanks to the city for all the support over the years. And my gaming career started when I was 8 years old, and I was actually at the Last Frontier Casino downtown Vancouver. I used to sell my Little League candy to the poker players as they would come in and play cards back in the days. In 1984, the year I graduated, the card rooms moved and looked for a new home. And in 1986, Darrell Lee opened up the old roller skating rink that's now called the Palace Casino. I had the great pleasure of working for Darrell for 10 years and then joined George and Joe in 1996. My employee is number 1, and I think our last employee's number is 3,946. So when we say thank you, it was the words that you share with us, Mayor, was it's us saying thank you to you. I personally met a lot of you over the years, but I've been here from day one, 32 years of driving to La Center, and it's amazing what these little card rooms have done over the years. And we're getting used to the new norm. Everybody asks us what's going on with all the impacts. I think everybody has an opportunity to see what's happening at times. But our values and our commitment to our vision, mission, and clearly defined ideal is alive and well. We are committed to being here and celebrating our next 30 years, so we've got some work to do. I'll be 82, I think, at that spot. So I don't know if I will be doing it, but I can tell you my passion for what we do and how we do it is alive and well. Amazing memories. We do a little series called Because You Love Cards. Ben Tracy, 81 years old, works with us at the casino, been with us all 30 years. And we've had a chance to say thank you to our customers and to our employees. But personally, I just want to say thank you to each one of you. You got a difficult job every day balancing all the impacts of being a leader in any community at any time. And I'm sure half the time, half the people think that you make the wrong decisions. They're tough decisions, but we do really appreciate your support. God bless each and every one of you. I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. And on behalf of the Last Frontier Casino, we just want to say thank you. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Michael.
Candy Irish, 1653 East Heritage Loop, La Center. So to echo what everyone's been saying, we have a lot to be thankful for. And in this community, I've always been, well, for the last, I don't know how many years, let's see, do the math, since 2004, I've been the garage sale pusher. And this year, tonight, as a matter of fact, I'm here to push the garage sale again. And this garage sale is for those people that are impacted in California by the fires. And there's on next door, there is a garage sale tomorrow. It's advertised on Nextdoor. There's a garage sale tomorrow. It's Thursday through Saturday. And what it is there's a lady on 18th Street, which is up on the hill. And what they're doing is they're collecting clothes, blankets, and used stuff, and they're selling it at a really reduced price. And what they're going to do is they're going to take the proceeds from that and buy the things that the Red Cross and the having a senior moment, the centers in Paradise and Chico have requested. They've just been inundated. Goodwill and different shelters have been inundated with clothes, and they don't have people to go through them, and the people need these things fast. So anyway, I'd like to leave one at City Hall, and I'd like to encourage everyone. It's from 8 to 6 p.m., and everything's $1. You can fill bags full for $5 and large, huge bags for $10. So this is a win-win situation. It's going to benefit the people in our community that need clothing right now. And it's also going to, this gal that's actually hosting this, she has family that have been, they've lost homes, and, you know, there's burned over 1,000 acres, claimed 30-plus lives, and burned over 6,400 homes and buildings. So, anyway, just wanted to say that. And then, on the home front, you can mark your calendars because July 13th next year is our own citywide garage sale. So, but thank you. And
Thank
have
you.
a nice, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
I don't like talking about Melinda Masna, and I live at 5305 Northeast 384th Street, La Center, Washington. I just wanted to get the word out that the Christmas Festival is coming up, and that will be December 2nd, 5:30 till 8 p.m. We have, of course, the Christmas tree lighting and the laser light show, and Santa Claus will be there. So get your kids down there, grandkids and nieces and nephews down there to come see him. The Saturday before that will be the Holiday Bazaar at the La Center High School, and that's from 9 o'clock till 3 o'clock. And on Friday, November 30th, if any of you guys have any grandchildren or, you know, kids yourselves or anything that you would like to have Santa come by and visit in the fire truck, we have the Santa House Calls. And we collect toys, coats, food, anything like that for, we will be giving to next door or La Center families. Oh, I always mess it up, see?
It's easy to do.
La Center families this year, and we'll be giving that to them so that they can go out and give to the families that need it. And so, yeah, there's some flyers over there, so if anybody wants to pick them up and take one home. All right, thanks.
Thank you very much, Melinda. And there'll be flyers at City Hall as well as at Public Works. And I'd just like to thank Melinda. She is the chairperson for the Christmas Festival, and she's worked very diligently with the committee. We've had several volunteers, city staff, fire department's very, very much engaged. The school is now very much engaged. Mr. Cameron and the school choir and the school bands, and yeah, it's really exciting, and I really appreciate all your efforts and hard work, and I'm excited for it I'm looking forward to December 2nd for sure. Hope everybody will be there to join us.
Curtis R. Carlson, 35915 Northwest Jenny Creek Road, La Center. This question: will there be an opportunity for public discussion on agenda item 13A? I guess that's more for council.
That is an agenda item, so it's not a public hearing tonight or open session, but I think when we get back from executive session, if you have a comment that you want to make, sure, we'll let you make a comment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim Irish, 1653 East Heritage Loop, La Center, Washington. Mayor, council, and citizens, since we are bringing to mind people that are in need, there's two items I'd like to bring forward. Number one, December 1st is the Walk and Knock. As you well know, everybody here probably knows very well that the Walk and Knock collects food for our food banks. And the number of people that come to our food banks when we have them open at the Center Church and throughout the Clark County is staggering, and it's getting more and more. So anybody that has any food to put out for the Walk and Knock, there'll be the bags in the Columbian when they have the paper stuffing time. But please be mindful of that. And the second thing that I want to bring forward is that the La Center Lions will be again doing their food baskets for the needy, the ones that have a special need, that they give their, put their information into the schools and to the church, et cetera, that the Lions look at and investigate to make sure that they really do meet the criteria for the need. And then we collect donations from the different organizations within the city and to try and get some money to help us. Last year we had 20 families in need. The baskets run about $200 to $225 a piece, the food supplies for each family. And so if you want to, and if you feel that you could support the Center Lions, it would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, seeing nobody else is stepping up to the podium, we'll go ahead and citizen public comment. Next on the agenda, we have a public hearing on the 2019 revenue sources and ordinance 2018-16 property tax levy, and Mr. Paul Lewis, our city's financial consultant, will be presenting.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens. Before you tonight is an ordinance increasing your property tax levy to 1%, but also as a requirement from the state, you're required to have a public hearing on your revenue sources prior to adopting your property tax levy change, as well as prior to adopting your 2019 budget. So this brief presentation will cover the staff report on both of those items. As I mentioned, there's really two purposes for the public hearing today. One is the requirement from the RCW, that's at 84-.55.120. And then a public hearing on ordinances for the property tax levy increase is a requirement from your city code. And we anticipate having the final budget adoption in front of you for your November 28th meeting, so the next meeting. So this is a table showing your revenue sources for your operating funds, your primary operating fund, your general fund for 2019. So this is oriented to this table. The major sources are down the left-hand side, and the annual amounts are across in the table. Focusing in on the 2019 preliminary budget column, the property tax item, you can see there is $465,800. If you move to the right, you can see that's a $25,800 increase over 2018. It's a 5.9% increase, and it represents 14.1% of your total budget. If you just go down here, you'll see other revenue sources. We'll get into more information on each of those. The largest revenue source is the gambling card rooms that you've been speaking of tonight. $1.3 million is the estimate for 2019, and that's the same revenue estimate that we have for 2018. But you can see it represents 39.4% of the city's total revenues for its general fund. Taxes on a whole represent 73%. That's about the same as you see in most cities, although they don't have the gambling tax. It's made up more of property, utility, and sales taxes, much larger share than in your budget. And you can see the other revenue sources, significant increases in the licenses and permits. That increase and the increase in the retail sales tax are both driven by the La Center Middle School construction that we expect to be underway before the end of the year. The $29,400 in intergovernmental, that increase is due to your being eligible for city assistance payments from the state. Again, you weren't eligible in 2018, but you were eligible in 2017 and 2016. And then if you see the bottom line, summary is $3,298,900. I do have one adjustment for this that we've made in the final preliminary budget since I've prepared this table, and that is the utility excise taxes. Those were originally estimated at $185,000. That estimate's been adjusted up to by $25,000 to $210,000 based on the third quarter results. As you recall, we had a delayed implementation of that in 2018, and we're getting better data on what to expect from that for the full year and so we've made that adjustment. So that's really a summary presentation of all the revenue sources supporting your general fund for 2019. I want to do a little bit of a primer on the property tax levy. State law limits the increase in the property tax levy year over year to 1% for cities under 10,000. If you're a city of 10,000 or more, you're limited to the increase in the implicit price deflator, which is an inflation index at the national level. Plus, you get to add an increase that's allowed due to any new construction, annexations, or increases in utility property value, and those are assessed at the state level. The levy rate equals the calculated levy, so that levy plus the 1%, divided by the total assessed value, which is determined by the county assessor. The levy rate is limited in state law to $3.60 per thousand of assessed value, less the fire district's levy and less the library district's regular levy. And you can see those total $2. So your effective maximum levy rate is $1.60 as a city. This shows you the 2018 property tax levy rates for each of the taxing districts in the city of La Center. Let me orient you to this pie chart. The upper left-hand side, you can see the La Center schools being the largest at 35%. Those are voted levies that it combines both the operating, M&O levy plus the bond levies, the levy amounts for bonds. And then the next two slices of the pie going right to left, you'll see state schools, part one. That's the permanent element of the state schools levy, and then the state schools levy, part two. That was the new amount that was added for the McCleary Act funding. So you can see if you combine all three of those sources, you're well over 60% of the total property tax levy, and over $6, get the number here, find it. $6.76 of the total $11.13. You can see the purple slice for the city of La Center carved out there, $1.18 roughly 11% of the total property tax bill. Again, a fairly small portion of all of the property taxes that are paid within the community.
And the 1% is just for that sliver of the pie?
Yes, the 1%, and I'll walk through that math actually next. So in order to determine what the levy rate will be in 2019, we have to do the math on both the assessed value and the levy amount. Starting with the assessed value, we begin with the last year's value, so the 2017 assessed value for 2018 taxes. Just another way to note that the assessed value is actually delayed by 1 year. So the assessed value for your 2019 taxes is the valuation that the assessor provides as of January 1st of 2018. So there's a full more than 1 year lag in terms of where the valuations are. So we start with that $370 million number. The assessor's update for 2018 identified an additional $42,132,688 of appreciation. So those are changes in existing properties, the valuation change to existing properties. That's an 11.4% increase in that assessed value. In addition, there's new construction, so the new homes or other new improvements to property was worth another $20.4 million, or 5.5%. We don't know what the state assessed utility value change will be. That'll be coming in later in November or early December. So the total assessed value for the 2019 taxes is $433,366,679. So that's the denominator in the levy rate equation. The numerator starts with the current levy, the 2018 levy of $437,000. We add the 1%, so that's only $4,374 that gets added to that levy from the city standpoint. The new construction levy increases the largest amount, so we take that $20.4 million. We get to add that at the last year's levy rate, the 2018 levy rate of $1.18. So that generates roughly $24,100 additional property tax. Any utility value will be added by the county assessor later. There is no increase for annexation this year. So the total eligible levy for 2019 is the $465,885. You do the math, that's the numerator. The $433 million is the denominator. The levy rate estimate for 2019 is $1.60. $7.5. And that's down from the $1.18 in 2018. Okay?
Paul, one question, how significant is the utility value? What will that add to it?
The utility value is included in that 370 million. I don't have a number for you for what your value is this year, but typically it's not very significant from the city's standpoint. I will say that I'm not sure whether the utility construction in La Center Road may make this an anomaly year, so I'll be interested to see what that number is, just to see if there's new utility infrastructure that was added that the state will assess. So one question mark. Okay? So that's the estimate for the levy rate for 2019. This gives you a little bit of history on the levy rate as well as the levy amount. So the blue bars in the left-hand axis is the annual levy, so the numerator in that equation. And then the levy rate is the green line in the right-hand axis. And you can see, I like to show this chart going back to the recession area where we had significant decreases in assessed value. So when the denominator shrank, the numerator didn't go down, and so the levy rate went up. It went up from $1.17, which is essentially where it is in 2018. It was that in 2008. The levy rate went up to $1.60, and your actual levy amount had to be compressed because of that state maximum of $1.60. So you can see in 2010 you generated $365,570, but in 2012 your levy was actually lower than that. You didn't get the 1%, you didn't get any new construction levy amount. Your levy amount actually dropped by $6,000 that year. Slowly the levy amount has been increasing, and as assessed value appreciation has come into play, that levy rate's dropped from $1.60 down to that $1.07 over the last 10 years. So just a good way of showing that. And again, the increase between 2018 and 2019 is shown as well. This shows you a different way of looking at the slide, and that's the appreciation. So the blue bar on the left-hand axis here is the annual appreciation. So you can see if you jump to the 2019 estimate, that 11.4, 11.36, that's what we talked about before. You can see the significant declines in assessed value in the 2009 through 2013 time period, again, which led to that increase in that levy rate over that time period. And that puts a little context to that 11.3%. You can see over the last 6 years, fairly healthy appreciations, although not to the extent that you had in the boom years of 2006 and 2007, but more stable, steady increases. But that 11.4 is the highest you've seen since 2015. And one more slide on the property tax here. This shows you the median home price. The blue bar on the left-hand axis is the median home price in Clark County as a whole. And the green line in the right-hand axis is what that home would pay to the city of La Center in annual basis in taxes. And you can see if you take the median home price in 2019 using the 2018 median value, that amount actually drops from $393 to $388. That's because so far this year the median home price has only gone up 8.5% as opposed to the 11.4% of your assessed value appreciation. So if you have a home that appreciated exactly at 11.4%, your property tax shouldn't go up at all. It should just go up the 1% that you're allowed to increase it. Okay? So roughly $388 a year is what a home would pay for city services. Touching briefly on the gambling tax, this chart shows you the tax structure that you approved in January of 2018. For 2018, this was an annual agreement. We're anticipating bringing this back to you for an additional one-year extension of this, so continuing it for 2019. This shows you the tax rate. Again, since it's a progressive structure, the lower the revenue, the lower the rate, the higher the revenue, the higher the tax rate, with the middle section there at the 10% what the rate was before. Here's the revenue received from that. So we showed you the $1.3 million before. You can see well over $3 million in the 2011 to 2013 timeframe, and again in 2016, expecting about 60% of 2017 amounts in 2018 and 2019, still representing 38, I think, % of your total revenue. In terms of the sales tax, again, you can see here, this is the total distribution of this 8.4% sales tax in La Center. The state is the lion's share of this at 77.4% at 6.5%. You can see again the pie amount for the city of La Center, again, in that roughly 10% of the total taxes paid, similar to the property tax side where you get 0.85% of that sales tax amount. You may see that your top rate is 1%, but you have to give 15% of your revenue directly to the county, so it never even comes to you. So even though you may have a face rate of 1%, your yield is 0.85%. You can see the other taxing district, C-Tran, being the largest junior taxing district in that group as well, and then smaller slices for criminal justice. So that very small slice, the criminal justice sales tax, that's a countywide sales tax, which you actually benefit from. You'll get about $52,000 from that. It's distributed to the cities based on a per capita basis, as well as to the county. In terms of the sales tax revenue, this shows you the base sales tax and then the criminal justice amount on top. If you look at 2016 and 2017, those benefited from significant construction, both at the La Center Junction, but also some road improvements as well as the utility improvements. The 2018 estimates coming in at about $300,000 for the city, with another $50,000 or so in the criminal justice. We're anticipating that base amount to be flat, so fairly conservative estimate for the sales tax base in 2019. Same $300,000. We're estimating $85,000 from the La Center Middle School's construction. So all of that construction activity is subject to the sales tax. And that's the primary driver of any increase. Other operating revenue, licenses and permits, estimates based on 40 new single-family residential building permits, plus the new middle school. That this year we should be into the mid-50s, I think, in terms of, at least over 50, in terms of the number of permits. So we're trying to be conservative and estimating a smaller number in 2019. Intergovernmental, I talked about the eligibility again for the state assistance payment at $29,400. That's down from $75,000 in 2016, but it's still good to have. Utility taxes, charges for goods and services, fines and forfeits are all based on recent actual amounts and adjusting for 2019 known events. Other transfers includes $265,000 in the debt repayment from the city sewer fund. That's up from $200,000 in 2018. We do have a projection that says that could continue to go up into the near future as well. Finally, the city has a study underway exploring the formation of a stormwater utility. This is a stormwater utility that all jurisdictions in Clark County, including the county, implement. So you're the only jurisdiction in the county that doesn't have a stormwater utility fee. We're exploring this now via a study. Any kind of fee implementation will come back to you most likely in the first quarter of 2019. We've anticipated roughly $100,000 a year of revenue from this source, using a rough $8 to $9 per month cost for a single-family home. Comparable rates, Ridgefield just increased its rate from $17.50 every other month to $18.05, so just over $9 a month. Battleground's rate is just under $11 a month. If you're in an urban unincorporated area of Clark County, you're paying $3.91, $4 roughly a month for your service. Businesses will also pay the stormwater utility fee. It's based on the impervious surface, so if they've got a large parking lot or a large building with large roof area, they would pay the same, roughly equivalent rate. That's it in terms of the revenues. I don't have any information. The public hearing was primarily focused on operating revenues. There are a number of capital revenue sources that the city receives: real estate excise taxes, impact fees, those types of things, systems development charges. Those will all be outlined in your preliminary budget when it comes before you on the 28th. So in terms of next steps, suggest you hold the public hearing on revenue sources tonight. Also accept public hearing comments on the property tax ordinance. Consider the ordinance in front of you increasing the property tax by 1% for 2019. The taxpayer agreement will be coming towards you, to you at your next meeting on the 28th. The budget should be available tomorrow, I think, on the website. So that'll be available, and you'll have a hearing on that on the 28th as well, prior to adoption. And then consider the ordinance adopting the budget on the 29th. One thing I don't have on here is that we will likely have an amendment to your 2018 budget, also prepared for you, most likely at your first meeting in December. With that, I'll answer any questions.
Well, on the second bullet up there, increasing property tax 1%, that's not a 1% increase in the total tax, that's 1% on our cut. Can you simplify that down to, say, on a $400,000 home, what the difference is going to be for a homeowner?
Yeah, so the $380 roughly is what we showed you before, so it'd be 1% of that $380, so it'd be $3.80.
On a $400,000 home, approximately? Yeah. Thank you.
I think that home was $360, the median home.
Yeah. What I wanted to do is make sure everybody understood your tax bill wasn't going up 1%, it's just the city's portion of it, which is a very small amount.
40 cents a month.
Yeah.
Okay, other questions?
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Very good report. Appreciate it. So this is a public hearing. Excuse me, any discussion with the council amongst yourselves before we open up the public hearing? Okay, then at 7:22, I will open up the public hearing for public comment. If anybody would like to address the council, please step up to the podium, state your name and address, and if you limit your comments to 3 minutes. And nobody stepping up to the podium, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing and open it back up to City Council. If there's any other questions for Mr. Lewis or discussion? There's no discussion, could I get a motion?
Mayor, I move to approve ordinance 2018-16, establishing the ad valorem tax as necessary to finance the anticipated requirements of the City of La Center, Washington for the fiscal year ending December 31, 2019 by increasing property tax revenue from the previous year by 1%.
I'll second that.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve ordinance 2018-16. This is an ordinance, so could I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Ball?
Yes.
Councilmember Stoll?
Yes.
Councilmember Williams?
Yes.
Councilmember Strobel?
Yes.
Councilmember Servany?
Yes.
Thank you. The ordinance passes unanimously. Thank you, council. Thank you again, Paul. Great job. Next item on the agenda under new business is a interlocal agreement between the City of Richfield, the City of La Center, and the Town of Yacolt for joint representation on the C-Tran Board of Directors. And our city attorney will facilitate that conversation this evening. We don't really have a report, but everybody does have a copy of the addendum number 1. We can pull that up on the screen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This, what's before you is a request by the parties, the City of Yacolt, City of Richfield, to extend the existing interlocal agreement, which is item 11A. This was not on my radar screen years ago. It first arose sort of as a dispute in 2015 between City of Yacolt and I think the rest of the cities on the C-Tran board. Those are the cities within the C-Tran service area. So it's Clark County plus the cities. And Yacolt was, under the then existing agreement, it shared its seat with, I think, the city of Battleground. And as I understand, it really wasn't an equal share, and that Yakult was allowed to attend, and Battleground, basically, its representative, controlled the vote for that seat. And the votes of the other cities were divided in a number of different ways. Anyhow, Yakult forced the issue to be rejiggered, and the board basically said, you small cities figure it out that you're basically, Ridgefield, La Center, Yakult are going to have to share a seat somehow, figure it out. So took some time, and the upshot was the agreement that you see here, and it expires at the end of this year. And it was a sharing agreement. Ridgefield, being the largest city, has its representative would sit on the seat, fill the seat for every other year, and when Ridgefield was not serving, Yakult and La Center would alternate. All of us have a representative. The representatives get together. Joe Valenzuela was representative, and he may speak to the practical realities of what the board does and what this seat does and how the interactions work. But in my sense, it works fine between the three cities. And in fact, it was a good thing. It really facilitated conversation about what are the interests that these cities have that are common about C-TRAN and its service, and what are the unique issues that each of the three cities has. And I think it facilitated a good discussion. Jim Iris was also actively involved for many years on the C-TRAN board. So anyhow, what's proposed here is a 5-year extension, basically extending the original agreement, and I think our year for the city's the center's representative to actually serve the role is starting 2019. And the way it would work is, let me switch to that one. The way it would work is it formalizes the every other year rotation between Yakult and the center. And when Yakult's serving, the center would be the backup or the alternate person to serve. So it kind of formalizes, I think, the arrangement that has sort of evolved over the course of this term. So you need to, my recommendation is go ahead, extend it. This fine-tunes the actual specific rotational deal. It goes to 5 years, and afterwards you also need to appoint someone to be the city's representative. This coming year, that person will actually occupy the seat on the C-TRAN board. Does that make sense to everybody? And so there are others in the room who are far more knowledgeable about how the service works and the actual day-to-day activities of C-TRAN affect the city of the center. So with that, I will turn it over to this elder statesman.
So yeah, any questions for the city attorney?
Do the other cities have to vote on this as well, like we're doing?
They do, and my understanding is Ridgefield drafted this, and they were in discussion. The strange thing is Yakult doesn't have a city attorney anymore. So Dave Ridenour, who we worked with, isn't there, so we're dealing with the city clerk. So I don't know if they've actually adopted yet, but it's set for their respective agendas with a do approve recommendation. If it hasn't already been done, it will be done, certainly by the end of December.
Right.
The alternative is, I don't know what. I mean, it'll I think, automatic continuation. But anyhow, this also keeps it off your plate for 5 years, so there's some attraction to that.
We do have former council member Valenzuela here this evening, and maybe he can shed a little bit more information on this for the new council members.
Council member emeritus.
Yeah.
Joe Valenzuela, private citizen, 311 Heritage. In my role as our representative, we were pushing several things, and it's important that we do have somebody representing. Jim did a great job during his tenure. They did some really major jobs. I mean, like a $50 million increase in the budget. We haven't had any near that, but what we were pushing is an Uber-type service out here in North County, because it's just too expensive. $39 a ride is what it costs us to get a bus out here. It would make a lot more sense. So we were pushing along with Yakult and Ridgefield, that we try to do a startup thing of having an Uber take people into where they can get a bus connection. And it would be a lot more cost effective for the system. And it would probably be a heck of a lot more convenient for people out here in the North County area, Yakult and La Center even. So that was one major thing. And the other thing is they're looking for an alternate route around the jam-ups that come up on the freeway when there's an accident or whatever. And so we were pushing hard to try to reinstitute I-99 as a secondary means of ingress egress, which would automatically bring it right back through La Center and then back across through 42nd and into Ridgefield. So those were the two main things we were working at. So from the planning perspective, whoever is our representative next year, it's important that you do go to these the board meetings and that you keep Ridgefield's, intricately, they're going to have a lot of stuff happening over there, college, a bunch of new construction, so they definitely want bus services too. So it would behoove us to work hand in hand with them to get that loop going, so that they keep that into the budget. So those are the two primary things. It's very cooperative. Mr. Maine, Councilman Maine has done a great job representing us the last couple of years. Like I said, before that, Jim did a great job of representing us. So we do need a representative there. It's one of these big bodies that has a big budget. And if you want to be involved in that, then I would suggest somebody step up and take that role. It's a significant role. So, thank you.
Joe, what's the meeting schedule?
Pardon me?
What's the meeting schedule?
It's basically they meet about once a month.
I have the schedule here that I can share with
and they put it out online, so it's not that demanding.
How often did you get together with your compatriots?
Well, every time they had a meeting, I would call Maine and I would have discussions with the mayor, whoever. What are we going to advocate for? If they're having a planning session or whatever. And they have a big annual planning session as well, a master planning session. So it's several meetings. It's several meetings a quarter. If you're the actual representative, you have to go to every meeting, or you should go to every meeting. So it's a little more intense there, but it's only every third year. So it's not like it's a overburdensome situation.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other discussion or questions? Hearing none, could I get a motion to approve amendment number 1?
Make a motion to approve amendment number 1, interlocal agreement between the City of Ridgefield, the City of La Center, and the Town of Yakult for the joint representation of the C-Tran Board of Directors.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve amendment number 1, interlocal agreement between the City of Ridgefield, the City of La Center, and the Town of Yakult for joint representation on the C-Tran Board of Directors. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you again, Joel, and thank you, Dan. So yeah, we do need to appoint a city council member. I did have a conversation with Councilmember Balf earlier today, and he was gracious enough to volunteer to do it. But if there's any other city council members that would like to step up, we can have that conversation. Otherwise, Councilmember Balf said he would do it. Anybody have any opposition to that? John? Good?
Thank you, Doug.
Okay.
It's good, one of those moments where everybody took one step backwards.
I just heard a big sigh of relief. So thank you for that. So I don't think we need any formal action on appointing Doug.
Why don't you, it'd be council authorization, so why don't we have a motion and
Okay.
a voice vote?
If we could, please. Motion and
I'll make a
second.
motion to approve or appoint Doug Boff as our City of La Center C-Tran representative.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, appoint Councilmember Bulf as the C-Tran representative for the City of La Center for 2019. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Doug.
Congratulations.
Yeah. We'll look forward to your reports.
Doug, that means you'll get a bus park in front of your house.
You can pay.
So at this time, I would like to, the city council will be going into executive session. We actually have two topics for executive session this evening, one for personnel and labor relations, and the other is to consider the acquisition of real estate. It's right now 7:35. I would expect that both sessions should not take more than a half an hour. So I would, if I ask everybody to please exit the council chambers.
Action to be taken afterward.
And there will be action to take, we'll take action after the executive session this evening. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. We've come out of executive session. The city council will be taking action. We'll go ahead and get started. If Mr. Paul Lewis will go through a staff report with the council. And this pertains to real estate transaction here in the center.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Item number 13 is a request that you ratify a purchase agreement with Lewis River Telephone Company dated November 13th for the TDS office building located at 210 East 14th Street. That purchase and sale agreement has a purchase price of $935,000. I want to walk you through a little bit of the history here and the background, and then also the proposal. As long as I've been involved with the city, which has been since 2013, I know you've had a new city hall on your radar screen from a capital facilities standpoint. In looking at some of the historical documents, I found a reference to a 2005-2006 space planning study that actually looked at what was at that point a higher population estimate in 2024. So they were estimating the city would be 827 people in 2024, and it recommended a 31,000 square foot facility with a cost well over $7 million, and that facility had a number of elements to it that made it that size. Obviously, in 2006, before the recession started, the card room closures, subsequent fiscal impact, put a lot of those plans on hold, although there's been some discussion during your budget sessions at this body as well as at the Budget Advisory Committee about looking into that. In fact, both your 2018 budget had $50,000 in it for essentially an update to that space study to explore moving forward with a city hall. In terms of your current space needs, you currently occupy about 7,200 total square feet, and that excludes the wastewater treatment plant. There's 2 to 3 FTEs there. The three buildings are this building, City Hall. It's approximately 2,000 square feet, has an assessed value of $473,000. The police station has an approximate 2,300 square feet. This is according to the GIS. I saw another number that said it was about 2,700. But 2,300 is what the county's GIS has. And then at $483,000, and then the Public Works building, the old First Independent Bank building, about 2,900 square feet with an assessed value of $381,000. I think that may be due to the vault that takes up a considerable amount of that square footage and wouldn't be necessarily usable for a secondary user. So those three properties, roughly $1.3 million total, just at the assessed value. Consolidation in the discussions, both at this body and elsewhere, always identify a couple of benefits that are associated with that, primarily efficiencies. So you're able to have essentially people in one building, you have more, your operating costs can be lower because of the efficiencies associated with having one building as opposed to 3 separate buildings, less surface area on the outside for heat to escape, less roof area in terms of maintenance. those types of things. And then the other is primarily associated with customer service. If you have one place where the citizens know to come to City Hall and they're able to contact any city staff person and have any city issue addressed at that one location, provides a convenience for the public and enhanced customer service. So with that in mind, within the last month, I think people are aware that the Lewis River Telephone Company hired an auctioneer to auction the TDS office building. And that property, again, is adjacent to this existing building, but also abuts Sternwheeler Park and the gazebo, and has access to the trail down to the La Center Bottoms, and is also conveniently located near the city's wastewater treatment plant. Just to highlight a couple features of the property, the building is 9,400 square feet. It has 3 floors. It's a concrete block plus building. I think there's some wood framing on the upper levels, but the primary base level is a concrete block. The land area is 1.56 acres. So it's 3 floors. It does have an elevator, and it is fully ADA compliant with restrooms on all 3 floors as well that are ADA compliant. 1.56 acres of land, 44 parking spaces, so a large parking area for the size of the building it has. I guess at one point there were 80 call center employees in that building, so very ample parking in addition to a 6-bay garage as well. And it also comes with a large amount of modular furniture, so a number of the office spaces and open spaces are configured with modular furniture, and that is included with the purchase of the building. It has been vacant since 2014. There's some deferred maintenance, but it has been routinely inspected and cleaned, so it hasn't been left unoccupied for any extended period of time. At your November 8th executive session, your special meeting on November 8th, you provided the mayor with some parameters regarding the purchase of the building at the auction. Eric Fuller and Scott Higgins from Fuller Group provided brokerage services to the city and advised on that purchase. At the auction, the city was the high bidder. That bid was below the reserve price, and subsequently the city and the auctioneer, the broker for the seller, entered into negotiations on the purchase. That purchase agreement, as I mentioned first up, has a purchase price of $935,000. Requires closing within 30 days or by the December 13th. There is a 5% down payment required, which is refundable based on any negative results from subsequent inspections that the city has, and those will be focused on the roof, the mechanical, the elevator, and the electrical. So those are 4 areas that will require additional inspection. The city did have an environmental review done within the short period of time between being noticed of the auction. That environmental review did not discover any current or continuing recognized environmental conditions, and concluded that the risk of contamination was so minimal that no further investigation was required. So essentially a clean level 1 environmental review. We also had a fairly thorough building inspection done by a building inspector, looked at all the building elements, spent probably the better part of a day in the building. They came back with identifying a number of things in terms of deferred maintenance, the most significant of which were, I think there are 10 different air conditioning HVAC units that serve the building, and they are aged out. They're essentially beyond their useful lives. They're still functioning, but they're likely to need replacement in 1 to 3 years. And then the exterior paint needs a refresh, roughly $20,000, so the combined of those two, roughly $100,000 within probably the next 1 to 5 years. A number of other items, roof cleaning, gutters, but mostly minor, just deferred maintenance things that you would expect. In terms of estimating the value of the building, there's a number of data points that we can look at. The current assessed value is $1.4 million. The appraisal from 2014 that the seller conducted, they didn't provide us with a copy of the appraisal, but they did give us the number at $1.285 million. And then the broker's opinion of value using $12.50 annual lease rates for the office, per square foot lease rates, resulted in an evaluation of just over $1.5 million. An estimate of the replacement cost would be $2.8 million, and that would be if you bought that piece of property at its assessed value of $485,000, and then pay $250 per square foot to build the building. And that would be a rate that would include prevailing wage, other requirements of a public facility that would need to meet over and above a typical house or even a commercial building. So that gives you a framework of reference for both the transaction that's in front of you as well as some reference points for valuation. I do believe that the office building provides a unique opportunity for the city to secure a building, really one of the only buildings in the community that could serve, I'm not getting this to work. Can you move that down? Just there we go. Yeah. One of the only buildings that would work, I think, for the city in terms of its current space needs. And we recommend that the city council ratify, budget impacts. I'll just hit on that briefly. Your capital projects fund has an estimated fund balance of $5.2 million, which is sufficient to cover the costs of the purchase without impacting any of their planned projects. This is on your capital facilities plan, so there is the ability to use real estate excise tax as well as other capital resources that you have at your disposal. So the staff recommendation is that the council ratify the city's purchase agreement with Lewis River Telephone Company dated November 13, 2018. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Paul, I have a question. Are you, what's your are you recommending a second step for authorization to close, or?
I don't know if we need one. I defer to you. If there's, so the purchase agreement requires closure in 30 days, so I think it's embedded in the...
Right, so I would assume that if you make such a motion, that would be authorization to close, assuming the inspections are satisfactory, and so I would, leave that up to the mayor and Paul's discretion. If there's something important, have them report back to you, but otherwise, assume this is it.
Okay. Very good. There was a request earlier in the meeting by a citizen that would like to address the council on this matter, and you're welcome to do so now.
Sure. Curtis R. Carlson, 35915 Northwest Jenny Creek Road. This is an interesting dynamic. I question the wisdom of, it's a lovely report, Mr. Lewis. It is lovely. The building is lovely. It truly is. The building has never been on the market. And it would be a lovely city hall. But I question, do we really want to see the building not have an opportunity to go out to market and see what kind of business can go in there? It's a fabulous opportunity for the city. It truly is. But right now, the city needs business. It needs tax revenue generated by business. It's the main thing I'm thinking. It's an opportunity, but do we want to take it, does the city, because I don't live in the city, I want to be clear about that, does the city want to take it out of the private sector and take it off the tax rolls and eliminate the possibility of gosh knows what business may be interested in moving in there? I'm going to talk like the planning commission. We don't know what software company is out there that wants to do tens of millions of dollars out of that facility. The city can always build something. It's a lovely building. I'm not saying it isn't, and it's in fabulous condition. But is it really to the city's best advantage to take it off the tax rolls? That's my comment.
Thank you very much. Yeah, if anybody else would like to address the council, please step up to the podium, and if you give us your name and address, and limit your comments to 30 seconds.
Joe Valenzuela, 311 East Heritage Loop. Obviously, my perspective is just the opposite from Skip's. From the perspective of our planning process, we had a master planning process that had identified that we need to consolidate our offices. From my perspective, it's going to be, there was nobody there at the auction, there was only 2 bidders. So if there was interest, I would have thought that, especially those auctioneers, they get a big chunk of change when they sell a building. So if there was a big interest, I think we'd have probably had more individuals there that wanted to bid. Secondly, the facilities that we have here, to me, seems like for a small city, these buildings here that we could sell, I mean, that bank building, I've been trying to market it for a couple of years. We got some interest from some credit unions. So I think if we actually advocate and start marketing those buildings, we can offset the cost of this building by selling the 3 or 4 buildings that we have to get rid of. That would probably facilitate somebody from our size city, a smaller business, as opposed to a great deal looking for the cherry on the top. I agree, it'd be nice to have but if it's gonna operate, it's probably gonna be, if we have a big building like that, it's probably gonna be out there on the intersection. It's probably not gonna be in downtown. So I would just suggest that because of our master plan, you're not gonna find a better, more convenient facility. The parking, the furniture, all the assets that facility holds to consolidate our services into one occupancy, I think is, it was a godsend. So I would strongly recommend that you folks consider voting positively on the initiative.
Thank you.
And he retired?
Any other comments? Okay, thank you. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the council for any discussion or further questions, comments, concerns.
I have a comment. When I first learned of this opportunity, I was rather reluctant. I questioned if this was a good time to be spending this kind of money. However, when I started looking at the data, and when I learned that we could buy the building for $99 a square foot versus building one down the road for over $200,000 a square foot, that got me thinking. I look at how the center is growing, and we do need to expand our administrative offices. We're bulging at the seams. And my concern is that if we don't take advantage of this opportunity, that at some point in the future, we're going to look back and feel we made a mistake by not doing this. Many communities, when they expand, will acquire land on the edge of town, they put a nice new building out there, but don't really stimulate their downtown area. I think by buying this building, we're making a commitment to our downtown area too. So I just think that we may regret if we don't make this purchase.
Very good, thank you.
I think it's an excellent deal also. If we didn't make this acquisition now, I think we're just going to keep kicking the can down the road. Construction does not get any cheaper as we go on with labor and material rates. Land is definitely going to go up as well. I think it's just a golden opportunity. And to Doug's point about committing to downtown, I used to have to go out to the city of Hillsborough a lot. And their city hall is just out in the middle of nowhere on the edge of town. That's a long damn drive out there. So anyway, I'm glad it's going in downtown. I also agree with what Skip said about businesses taking that building, but nobody stepped up to the plate. So
It hasn't been on the market, for Christ's sakes.
anyway, again, I think it's a good opportunity for us, and I think we should move ahead with it.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Mayor, do we have any plan on disposition of these buildings?
Not at this time. This all happened so quickly. I mean, it's going to take some time to work through. We'll go through a process of evaluating our needs and
Yeah.
Just for public information, Paul, what was the approximate value of the three properties we'd be combining out of?
About 1.3 million is the assessed value of those three.
Of the three properties that we wouldn't need anymore, so hopefully we'd be able to recoup some of the costs of this.
Good point.
Yeah, good point. Anyway,
Okay. Any other comments by council members?
Mayor, I move we ratify the city's purchase agreement with Lewis River Telephone Company dated November 13, 2018 for the TDS building, office building located 210 East 4th Street in La Center, provided that the inspection reports come back as favorable.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the city purchase agreement with the Lewis River Telephone Company dated November 13th, 2018 for the TDS office building located at 210 East 4th Street in the center. Be accepted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, council. Appreciate the support. That is all that we have on the agenda for this evening, so if I could get a motion to adjourn. Been second. Been moved and seconded to adjourn, all in favor say aye.
Aye. You wanted the
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Happy Thanksgiving.
No, I didn't.